Start with James from Sky Sports News. Go ahead, James.
Hi, you hear me?
I've got it.
Hi, Stuart. Well done, mate. Really well done on passing 500 wickets and 10 wickets in this test. Sorry to throw it on so quickly, though. I mean, having been left out for the first test, you must have worried that your career might be coming to an end. But how much longer do you feel you can go on giving your best now? You've shown you're still there, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 34 now, but I feel like I'm bowling as well as I ever have done. I've done some technical work and changed my run-up in the last 18 months, and I think I'm feeling the benefits and getting the rewards for that, really. I'm challenging the stumps. I mentally try and make the batsman play as much as possible and actually judge myself on that. So I think that's a tactical thing that's really taken me to a really exciting level that I feel I'm at the moment. So yeah, I'm not someone who sets targets. You know, I never said I really want to get 500 wickets or 600 wickets, anything like that. I'm someone who looks pretty short term, but at the moment I feel fresh, I feel fit. I'm bowling how I want to be bowling, bringing the outside edge of the batsman into play, bringing the slips into play, but also LBW and bold being a big dismissal of mine. So, you know, we bowl for one reason only, and that's to take wickets that can help secure Test match wins and Test series wins. And it's a great feeling sat here knowing that I've come into an attack that's had an influence on us winning this Test series, because we've bowled brilliantly as a unit. Everyone's played their part, and it's a very happy changing room right now.
But it's fair to say you still feel you got a lot to offer, and for many years to come.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy's my idol on that. You know, he turns 38 in this little break we've got now. So he's someone who I've watched very closely. You know, he's a great friend of mine for many years, but also over the last few years, how he's maintained himself and kept upskilling himself to be able to compete, and not just compete, but get better at this level. And I think you look at both of our records over the last few years, we're actually improving. Compare my last 18 months to my career record, and it's way better, which is always a great sign.
And finally from me, did being left out for that first test give you added motivation coming back in?
No, not really. I didn't really need any more motivation. I knew I was bowling well. My sort of stats and numbers before going into this series were pretty strong over the last few months. So I knew that once I got that opportunity again, I'd be ready to strike. So yeah, I mean, delighted to have picked up the wickets that I've been able to do and influence the results. Because tactically on these pitches, I think we've got it right as a bowling unit. We had to try and hit the stumps, try and nip it back onto off stump, because the slips, you know, there haven't been quick pitches, so the slips haven't been in the game as much as fast bowlers would like. So I think tactically we were really switched on, and that's helped us win this series.
Okay, we'll go with Rory then, Lawrence, please.
Stuart, I wonder, speaking in the round slightly from day one as a young sort of prodigy to now, what do you think the defining qualities or quality of you as a cricketer has been?
Never give up. You know, I'm always someone who probably comes from my mum, actually. Feels like we can win from any situation. So I think the most recent time of that, and where it really helped me drag through, was probably Cape Town at tea. I can't remember how many wickets we needed, but we'd been slogging away and gutsing it out for a long period of time. But I just sort of knew deep down, you know, if we keep firing here and applying pressure, South Africa can crack. And that sort of mindset helped us win that Test match. And it's something that you know, Straussy told me from a really young age about sort of having this belief of continuously trying to improve. And I think that's something that I can definitely say I've managed to do throughout my career. Something I've always been looking for, the next step that can improve me as a cricketer. And I think that keeps you hungry when you're always looking for things to improve in practice that you can take into games. It can keep you moving forward as a cricketer. And I don't think you know, it's easy to get to 34 and start just going, oh, I'll just do what I've done for the last 13 years and be okay. I've actually notified certain things that I really want to step up. And you know, I love that feeling of winning. I'm hugely competitive. I want to be involved in Test series wins, and I think that helps me stand up at pressurised situations. You know, I've never shied away from intimidating moments in Test matches in any sort of cricket, and I really enjoy the moments that you know, when the game needs changing slightly. I want to be that person. I want to be the person that gets thrown the ball or the bat when we need to change the momentum of the game, and I get much more of a feeling of success if you get 2 for and it's really important wickets than I do if I get a 5 for and they're not. So yeah, like I've always had a big hunger, a big love for the game, but I think that sort of never give up attitude and always searching for ways we can win games has helped.
You're number 7 on the list of people to have got this amazing feat. With the way the game is in 2020, do you think there'll ever be an 8th?
Great question. Someone's going to have to play a lot of cricket, because you know there is a lot of competition out there for cricket with different T20 franchises, 100 ball. You know, I feel very lucky that we've played cricket for England for an era that we've played a lot of Test cricket in the summer and a lot of Test cricket in the winter. But I could even, you know, I think there's talk about that sort of thinning the amount of Test matches we've played in the summer down. So you need a lot of Test matches to go and get 500 wickets. So I think there'll be people with the talent who would be able to get there numbers wise, but whether they'll be able to play the amount of Test matches that the seam bowlers have to get to that feat remains to be seen.
Thank you. Lawrence, please.
Hi, Stuart. It looked from afar that you might take a wicket pretty well every over in this game. I mean, did it feel like that for you in the middle? And can you remember many spells or games in your career when it did feel like that?
Trent Bridge 2015 felt like that for an hour and a half. But yeah, to be honest, I felt like my alignment towards the stumps was really good in this game. I felt I had a bit of confidence and match practice from the second Test match. And the tempo of my run-up and alignment just felt like every time I released the ball, I could bring in off-stump into play. And that's always been my go-to. I want to make batsmen play. I'm not someone who likes to get left too often. So when you come on a pitch that's had a little bit of wear and the ball's keeping a bit low and hitting the stumps, it's sort of my dream pitch. Most fast bowlers like ones that flying through and can catch the edge and go to slip at chest height. But if I can bring the stumps into play, it really suits my style of bowling, and I'd argue they're 2 really good tosses to have lost.
Okay, we'll do John one more, please. John.
Stuart, you say that Jimmy's your idol in terms of improving in your mid-30s. Do you think it's feasible that you might actually end up with more wickets than him?
You know, good question. I've never even thought about that. I'm not a particular goal setter, so it's not like I could sit and say I really want to take 600 wickets or anything like that. I'm someone who almost sets goals on series, so I want to make sure that I'm here and peaking at that time and here and peaking at that time. So, you know, the way Jimmy still runs in and bowls and has the skill at 30, coming up to 38 is incredible. And if you'd have asked me 4 years ago, if you'd asked me that question 4 years ago, to say at 34, do you think you'd still play for another 3 or 4 years? I'd go, absolutely not. But now I am 34. I feel fit. My fitness testing post-lockdown was the best it's ever been. I feel excited. I'm really enjoying playing around this group. I've got a great relationship with Chris Silverwood, the head coach, who knows my bowling inside out, having worked with him as bowling coach. And you know, why not try and follow in Jimmy's footsteps? He's been wonderful to play with. He's still inspiring players in this group and below. And if the environment in the England change room stays as it is, and how enjoyable it is to be around these cricketers like Rooty and Stokes and Wokes, and then you add in your Popes and, you know, Sam Currans, who are just such young, exciting prospects. It's a great place to play. It's really enjoyable. I don't feel like I'm the older sort of outcast, and I feel like Jimmy feels exactly the same. I think there'd be a lot of 34-year-olds who have retired from the game would wish they'd be in an environment that we're in at the moment, because it gives you energy, it inspires you to keep improving, and with the amount of competition there is, you've got to perform as well. Let's be honest. We've got so many fast bowlers here that if you're not taking wickets, you're probably not going to play, which keeps the standard high. So I feel very lucky that I'm in an environment I am, and if I keep bowling the way I am for the next few years, then I wouldn't rule anything out.
Thanks. Last one, Dean, please.
Hi, Stuart. Well done. I just wondered, how different is it for you when you do have these moments, when you do have series wins and successes? How different does it feel to the previous successes that you had? I know you say you're not an outcast, you're not an older, you don't feel like an older player, but when you win the Ashes for the first time, that must be different to winning it for the third time. And you've beaten the West Indies again, but how does it kind of compare that feeling of success?
It feels amazing, to be honest. Anytime you win a Test match, one thing that I quite enjoy certain different moments. So walking off, seeing Dom Sibley celebrate his 100 at Cape Town, I remember thinking, wow, this is so cool. We've got a guy, a couple of tests in, is walking off in front of Table Mountain with England fans going crazy. These are moments that you can never not soak in. So I think, playing sport, we are so lucky that you get to play with different age groups, and I think you get a lot of enjoyment from seeing your teammates experience things. And for the first time, the excitement on Bessie's face with that run out today, was brilliant. And then you see how everyone celebrates it. It was those sort of moments just give you so much inspiration to wanting to feel those sort of things again. I get as nervous now for a batsman in the middle in the 90s as I did when I was 21, because you're just desperate for them to get that feeling of a Test match 100 and keep going, which is good. You always hear ex-sportsmen say that they knew when it was time to go, and they lost that sort of feeling, etc. Well, I've still got it in abundance, which is an exciting place to go. A couple of weeks ago, I was in a bit of a thinking place, because I couldn't leave a cricket ground when I've been left out, and I thought, where am I going here? I'm glad I stayed strong, because I feel very happy 2 weeks later.
Thanks.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. I'll go get the captain. Thank you. Stay on the line, please. Yeah, go ahead, James, please.
Sorry to be a pain, Joe. Are you able to tilt that camera down slightly?
Yeah, I'm not as tall as Stuart, am I? Sorry.
There we go. Sorry, mate.
Sorry.
Thank you. Go ahead, James.
Hi, Joe. Just chatting with Stuart there. He was talking about when he was left out after the first test, obviously being in the bubble and having a lot to think about. Just wondering, did he speak to you about that and ask for some reassurances or some advice? And what sort of place was he in after that, coming back into the team?
Well, I think it's quite obvious when I got back into the bubble that he's bowling well. He was in a good place with his game. He worked very hard throughout that week at Southampton, and he had a point to prove. He made that very clear with what he said, and he's backed it up beautifully. He's been fantastic in the last two games. In the first of the two games, he put in a brilliant performance, which changed things at 3 wickets in a spell, and then it seems to have gone from strength to strength from that point. So really pleased for him, and to do it in such fine style and fashion this time around, getting 10 for 50 in no time as well with the bat, and obviously bringing up that 500 milestone just shows what an amazing talent he is and what a huge asset he is to English cricket and has been for such a long period of time.
How much longer do you think he can go on being that asset? I mean, he's talking about he's not ruling out catching up Jimmy Anderson's wicket tally. Well,
hopefully that's the case. I really hope that is the case, that he can keep going, just like as Jimmy has, and just as Jimmy wants to as well. And as I said about Ben last week, we've got to realise how lucky we are to be in the presence of these guys. They're time and time again putting in brilliant performances, and can see him going from strength to strength still. His last couple of years, he's been brilliant, and hopefully that continues for this summer and beyond.
And finally, from me, it's a pretty quick turnaround, a week before the Pakistan test. How important now is it, both mentally and physically, to prepare properly? And how key is it going to be also going home and just getting out of the bubble for a bit and recharging?
Yeah, I think it's vitally important that the guys enjoy the next 4 or 5 days and really make the most of that time away, time at home with loved ones. So the guys have been very excited about getting home and spending that time just refreshing, getting away from the bubble, and hopefully when we all come back, be ready to crack on with another very exciting series again.
Thanks, James. Go ahead, Tim, please.
Hi, Joe. Congrats on the series win. Obviously, having all 4 of those quicks together must have been fantastic for you as a captain. Is actually there any thoughts to maybe picking all 4 of them again next week, even if Ben can bowl again?
Well, it's certainly on the table, isn't it? There's a number of different ways we could go, and as you've seen, it's been hard to leave anyone out. You look at the amount of players that haven't played this game and the talent that's waiting in the wings. It's an exciting place to be, and long may those headaches continue. So I think for now it's important that everyone just goes away, has some time away from cricket, away from this bubble, not thinking about things for a couple of days, and then towards the back end of it, start getting our heads around the challenges that these 3 games will pose for us, and then really have clarity then with which way we want to go.
And you talked a lot about the kind of identity of the England team that you want to build in Test cricket. Do you feel that maybe the last 2 tests are sort of the template for how you want to go about that?
Yeah, I think for beyond that, really, you look at the back end of New Zealand and within that South Africa tour as well, we've started to make strides. And there's been little bumps in the road, and we've got things wrong on occasions, but we are becoming more consistent, and we are starting to do it time and time again. Look at this game, there's been contributions from a number of different players, not just relying on a couple. And more frequently, we're starting to make big partnerships in the games. This game, 300 partnerships with the bat, and score of over 400 in the previous game. We're starting to really make big strides, and that's really pleasing from my side of things as captain, that guys are starting to become more consistent, and as a team we're looking at that template, and we're going out and we're getting very close to it, or nailing it more often than before. So long may that continue, and the challenge will be to keep looking to improve and keep looking to get better with it, and get closer to it more and more frequently.
Cheers.
Rory, please.
George, you have a sort of a final sum up of this quite unique and strange experience that you've had, and just a final word for the West Indies, really, and coming over here without a couple of their players that they might like to have played, getting through the series, and is there a chance of a socially distanced beer tonight?
Look, first and foremost, I think it's been a fantastic effort for the West Indies to come over here, in such unprecedented times, for them to come and give the world really international cricket again, and cricket lovers the opportunity to watch and enjoy the sport. We're all extremely grateful for that as players, and I'm sure a lot of people back home watching have been as well. Unfortunately, our guys have all hit the M6 and head up home, so there won't be a socially distanced beer tonight. But I think they've played some really good cricket throughout. I think Jason's led them extremely well, and he's a fine captain with some very good players within that team. And we wish them safe flight home and all the best for the future.
Okay, Lawrence, please, and then we'll take a couple more after that.
Hi, Joe. Not many captains come from 1-0 down to win a 3-test series. Where does this rank in your sort of captaincy CV?
Well, of course, any time you win a series, it's very special. But it's quite hard to judge it with how different it's felt. To bounce off, and the whole bubble scenario. But I think it's shown a huge amount of character from the group to come back into a series like this, and the manner that we've done it as well. We've not wavered from how we set out to play, and as I mentioned, we sort of got close to that template. So from that perspective, they're really pleasing in many ways, and hopefully we can go from strength to strength here. We're very much looking to start the series better than we did this time around, and sort of book that trend of losing the first game. So that's a big challenge for us when we start the Pakistan series. But really pleased about the team performance, especially this week.
Any more questions? Okay, I think we're done. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care, and we'll be in touch regarding the
Thank you.
Pakistan
Thank
series.
you.
Cheers, Joe.
Bye bye.